Ladies and gentlemen, it finally happened. Bitcoin just recorded its highest weekly candle close in history. And I said on X, let me say it again for the people in the back to hear, not bullish enough. Because again, for the last couple weeks, I have been stressing to all of you that yes, crypto will continue higher. We are going to see Bitcoin make a new all-time high. Now, for those out there that are wondering about altcoins, don't worry. We will 100% address them in this video as well. But what Tom Lee recently told us, we have to 100% focus on, because this is going to lead to altcoins, including XRP, to break to significant highs. We are going to address this. We're going to talk about this. But let's first address Bitcoin. Yeah, highest weekly close in history. We made a new all-time high as well on that weekly candle, $125,559. We are currently trading at $123, almost $124,000. And this is just absolutely beautiful to see. Now, do I think that, it's all about Bitcoin? Do we think that altcoins are just going to take the back seat here and just not pump at all? Absolutely not. Altcoins are going to play catch up, just like every other cycle in history for crypto. The main thing that we're focused on here, though, is Bitcoin continuing higher. The higher that Bitcoin goes, the more liquidity that it creates for the space. Right now, Bitcoin on exchanges just hit the lowest level in 6 years. This is from Altcoin Daily, and just looking at this, yeah, this is insane. We are starting to witness a massive supply squeeze on Bitcoin. And also, by the way, this is very similar to what happened with Ethereum with the short squeeze. It's kind of the inverse with supply. But again, the main thing that we're focused on here is we are watching as a squeeze happens. This could lead to Bitcoin pumping to $150,000 in a very short amount of time. We've talked about this. We've addressed it. And looking at the market right now, we hit 4.22 trillion yet again. We're about to hit those all-time highs on the chart again. This is very bullish. This is extremely bullish to see. It's green across the board right now. Fear and greed still around 59, so in neutral territory. Altcoin season index around 61 out of 100. You might be asking, why aren't altcoins pumping in a big way? It's because dominance is shifting towards Bitcoin to support this big push, which we also addressed in a few previous videos. Now, looking at a few things, it's very interesting because although Bitcoin just made a new all-time high on the chart and it just recorded its highest weekly candle close in history, Bitcoin searches on Google Trends is still pretty flat. It's interesting because, again, going all the way back here to 2021, around May of 2021, this is where Bitcoin hit its highest peak. Even back here in January of 2021, it hit a higher peak than every other peak that we've seen since going back to 2021, which tells me that Bitcoin has a lot more upside potential here. Again, retail is barely looking at Bitcoin. Same with crypto. The Google search crypto is also at massive lows. Yes, it did hit a high in August at around 94. Again, lower than 2021. And same with crypto to buy now. Absolutely flatlined. The only time that this hit a high was back in December of last year, where the market did have that nice little, pump. It was a decent pump. It wasn't anything crazy. But again, when we are looking at this, it tells me that retail participation is really not here in a big way. The only search term that I saw have a big spike was altcoins to buy now. Now you might say, all right, well, does that mean that alt season happened? Absolutely not. We typically, again, the main thing that we're looking at here with altcoins, we typically see altcoins go insane across the board. We haven't really had any altcoins, especially in the last, let's just take a quick look at this. Last 30 days, top 500, beyond just a few that recently launched, look at these gains. Again, top 500, last 30 days. Look at these gains. This is not alt season at all. In fact, majority of the altcoin market is down on the last 30 days for the top 500. So now we're looking at Ethereum. Because although Bitcoin just recorded its highest weekly candle close in history, Ethereum has yet to break over its 2021 all-time highs and get a close over them. Yeah, we did hit a new all-time high technically in July into August, but we did not get a close over it. We need to see a close over those all-time highs. This is extremely important for altcoins, and I'll talk about why here in a moment, but taking a look at even XRP, most of these altcoin charts are pretty flat. They're not doing too much during this time while Bitcoin is breaking to a new all-time high because all the focus is on Bitcoin. Now, I want to bring up a few things, all right? And that's stocks. Looking at stocks right now, and this is from Ryan Dietrich over on X, when the S&P 500 makes a new high in October, which it did, the fourth quarter is up more than 90% of the time. I do think that stocks are going to continue to trail higher. However, I do think that stocks are about to get boring. I think that we are going to see consolidation hit stocks, and that's going to lead to retail flocking into other markets that are very exciting and not very boring. So with Bitcoin breaking to a new high, I do think that we are going to see retail flock into crypto yet again, and we are going to witness a huge rotation. Now, with stocks, where do we see stocks ending off the year? Well, if we're going over here to Tom Lee, he said history shows probabilities favor S&P 500 7,000 by the year end. I do agree. I also think that this is going to really kind of lead to the most hated rally because I've been witnessing a lot of people shifting in this market, a lot of prominent names also, flipping bearish at a time where you just have to look at the charts and look at the structure. The structure was obviously very bullish. I don't know why or how anyone could flip bearish at this time. The main thing that we're focused on is the facts, right? And with Bitcoin, we were looking at Bitcoin structure over the last couple of days and technically the last couple of weeks and saying, look it, this thing is in bullish structure. We should be very bullish. And now we're starting to see that huge push. And by the way, Tom Lee is also predicting that we'll see a huge market rally because again, if we're going to follow stocks, if stocks are going to continue higher, crypto should also follow through with that. And he did say on CNBC that Bitcoin will make a monster move in the next 3 months. Supply shock incoming. This was from October 2nd. Check this out.
The second is monetary liquidity sensitivity, global central banks easing. That's Bitcoin and Ethereum. And seasonally strong. I think they could make a monster move in the next 3 months, like huge. The second is monetary.
And yeah, I also agree with him. We're already witnessing that monster move on Bitcoin, but I do think that it continues higher, especially with that supply shock. Now, we are focused on Ethereum, which Tom Lee also did mention. I have a video queued up with Tom Lee here in a moment, but I want to share with you guys why it's so important for Ethereum to break to a new all-time high. We have this view back here from January of 2021. This is when Ethereum officially broke to a new all-time high on higher time frame structure, aka on the monthly view. When this happened, the next month, right? We saw altcoins go insane. Here we have the total 3. This is February of 2021. Altcoins started to jump in January, but we officially broke to a new all-time high in February of 2021. Right now, we are trailing against the all-time highs going back to November of 2021. We're technically trading at new all-time highs on this chart. However, we're looking at a stronger impulse move here. That happens with Ethereum breaking out on this chart. And right now, it looks as though October could be the month that we finally see Ethereum break to a new all-time high and close out the month at a new all-time high as well compared to the November and December all-time highs. This is right around 46.67. Going off of the total 3 as well in terms of time frame structure, when we get that big push, and if we are going to see November be the start of alt season, we typically see some altcoins top around the 90-day view. This would take us to about February 1st of next year, which again, this kind of aligns perfectly with my Q1 of 2026 topping idea. And then also, if we're going off of when this chart officially topped out, with some altcoins running all the way towards the end of 2021, that would be 273 days. That would take us to about August of 2026 as well, which also makes a lot of sense considering the fact that that would be, kind of topping off the whole year with a major top across the board for a lot of asset classes, including even, stocks, for an example. So, that would align perfectly. And we could definitely see that happen. We could run all the way into August if we officially begin to see altcoins starting their rally in November. It all really depends on what happens with Ethereum next, in my opinion, because I do think, just like back in 2021, Ethereum is going to be the spark that lights the match for the fire to officially spread, aka the liquidity to trickle down from Bitcoin into Ethereum into altcoins. Now, the main thing that we're focused on is what Tom Lee said about Ethereum, and this goes back to the end of August. We have Ethereum should hit 5,500 in the next couple weeks. And yes, it should happen. We should start to see Ethereum really break out around, this month. We should see Ethereum really clear 5,500 plus. Check this video clip out.
Okay, last question for you, Tom. I can hear your Slack's going off. You got to get out of here. Really appreciate the time that you spent on the channel. It means a lot. Price targets for end of year for Ethereum and the S&P 500, and your logic for those two.
Yeah, I think Ethereum, in the near term, 5,500 should be happening in the next couple of weeks. But by the end of the year, I think it should be closer to 10 to 12,000 for ETH. But it's because most of the move in crypto does come in the fourth quarter. So if you're up 35% year to date, well, if you're going to be up 200%, it's going to all happen in the next few months. And for the S&P, if the Fed follows through and begins to cut, which is our expectation, and then we get a drop in mortgage rates and the ISM turning up, and therefore financials really begin to participate, I think that's why we get to 6,800 or so on the S&P. So still a lot of upside. Of course, as you know, September is the month everyone's going to be worried about. So that's a month where you might get a pullback, but you need to be buying that tip.
So the seasonal weakness in September, you would say, would just be another opportunity.
Yes, that's right. And as you know, every pullback, everyone has been ringing the bell saying it's the top. That has always been a dip buying opportunity since.
And he's basically just talking about how we were going to see a sell-off in September, and we just did. But he's also predicting that Ethereum can reach $12,000 to $15,000 by the year end. A lot of people say that this is ridiculous. Listen, I don't really care how high Ethereum goes. My main focus here for Ethereum is flipping the all-time high and getting to a high of like $6,000 to $8,000 initially. After that, I do think that it could definitely hit 10K plus. But the main thing that we're focused on here is Ethereum leading the rally around altcoins. Obviously, a monster move across the board is going to happen. We are going to see a huge market rally across the board. The total 3 typically sees its largest move in the market when Ethereum starts to take dominance away from Bitcoin, and we see that trickle down into the altcoin market. This time is not that different. It's just a different time frame compared to typical cycles where we do top around the fall winter time frame. So I'm watching this closely. We'll keep you guys posted, obviously, but this is a very, very good start for this next wave of the cycle. We just got Bitcoin at its highest weekly candle close in history. I feel like Ethereum is starting its rally right now, especially on the higher time frame structure, and it just feels as if the environment around crypto is extremely bullish at this moment. So lock in. Focus up. Altcoins really should be next, I would argue. And again, with XRP, XRP has been performing very well this cycle. We're still around like $3. This next wave on XRP should take us to, in my opinion, like $5 to $7 initially. We can go much higher. We could hit that $10+ range. But I'm watching for this next big rally to really heat up around, I would say, the end of this month into November. And by the way, do I think that we have to wait until the end of this month to see any signs of life on altcoins? Absolutely not. We will start to see altcoins jumping I would say around like the middle of this month. Just as I've mentioned with, previous times in this market, we typically see Bitcoin really start to heat up. Then Bitcoin starts to consolidate a little bit. Then we start to see the money trickle down. We see Ethereum, and then we start to see altcoins as well. But this is a very good start for quarter four. I said quarter four was going to be very bullish. And so far, we're off to a good start. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.